stamp authority on football. So, welcome guys to this episode, and we are looking at the official 2024 nominee list for the Ballon d'Or. The 31 list is out, and welcome to the new era because for the first time, uh, Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo are missing. It's the first time since 2003. Over 20 years later, there is no Messi in the list. There is no Ronaldo in the list. The last Ballon d'Or was won by Messi, and that is in 2023. So that marked the end of an era. So new names, new players, new era, new generation. And when I look at the list, it's interesting. So let's go through the list. So not in any ranking, but just the mention of the names. So we have Jude Bellingham for Real Madrid, Hakan Chanilalu, we have Dani Carvajal, we have Ruben Dias, we have Artem Dovbyk, we have Phil Foden, we have Alejandro Grimaldo, we have Erling Haaland, we have Matt Hummels, we have Harry Kane, we have Toni Kroos, Ademola Lookman, Emiliano Martinez. That's the first time we're seeing a goalkeeper on the list in this particular list. So we also have Lautaro Martinez, we have Kylian Mbappe, Martin Odegaard, Dani Olmo, Cole Palmer, Declan Rice, Rodri, Antonio Rudiger, Bukayo Saka, William Saliba, Federico Valverde, Vinicius Jr., Nico Williams, Florian Wirtz, Granit Xhaka, and Lamine Yamal. So in this list, these are the interesting stats to look at. Lamine Yamal is the youngest athlete here in this nominee. He had an interesting campaign with in his debut season with Barcelona, and also he was instrumental in Spain's 2024 Euro victory. He was instrumental in that squad, and he came out as also the youngest youngest player of the tournament. So he's the youngest. And then Ademola Lookman is the only African in the list. He represents Nigeria, former Everton man. So the only African in the list is Ademola Lookman. Interesting that Mohamed Salah is missing in the list despite having what I think was a spectacular season. Overall, his stats were like, he was like 39 goals contribution, that is goals plus assists last season, but he's missing in this list. Granit Xhaka is in the list. He was critical and pivotal for Bayer Leverkusen season, the unbeaten invincible Bayer Leverkusen last season. He was a force in the midfield, and the team actually relied on his experience, and he helped the club. He, alongside the coach Xabi Alonso, were instrumental for that side. So it's nice to see Granit Xhaka in the list. Another of his teammates in the list is Florian Wirtz, who also had a great season with Bayer Leverkusen. So another young player in the list is Jude Bellingham. He's young, but he's not as young as Lamine Yamal. And he, alongside Harry Kane, Declan Rice, Phil Foden, and Bukayo Saka, are and Cole Palmer are the Englishmen in the list. So probably we're looking at having how many Englishmen in this list. So we have Declan Rice, that's one. Cole Palmer, two. We have Phil Foden, three. We have Jude Bellingham, four. We have Harry Kane, five. So five Englishmen in the list. So that's interesting. And then let's look at the distribution of Spanish players, maybe, because we have to do that because they won the Euros, and so the Euro will count for some of their nominees. So we have Lamine Yamal, one, then we have Nico Williams, two, then we have Dani Olmo, three, we have Rodri, four, and then we have who else do we have? We have Dani Cabral, five, Ruben Dias, six. So there's a good distribution of Spanish players in the list. How about the Germans? We have Matt Hummels, one, Antonio Rudiger, two, we have Florian Wirtz, three, and is there any other German in the list? Not really. French representation, we have Mbappe, one, we have Saliba, two. Any other French player in the list that I may be forgetting? Not really. So not good for French football, I will say. Any Italian in the list? Not good for Italian. So we look at Brazilian in the list. We have Vinicius, only Vinicius in the list. Argentinian players in the list, Lautaro Martinez, we have Emiliano Martinez. Who else is in the list from Argentina? No, Messi is missing. So two Argentine players in the list. So basically it's a list that dominated by European-based players, and dominated a lot by also English Premier League players. So let's look at the list in terms of league representation. If let me see if I have an analysis that looks at them in league representation. Not really, but so perhaps maybe we narrow down to the English Premier League because above all it's one of the most popular leagues, and in the English Premier League, this is the representation that we have. There is a chart here that I'm looking at. So 4 players are from Manchester City and 4 players are from the Arsenal, and we have Aston Villa and Chelsea producing 1 player each. So who are these 4 players? So at Manchester City we have Rodrigo, and then we have Braut Erling Haaland, and then we have Phil Foden and Ruben Dias. For the Arsenal we have William Saliba, Bukayo Saka, Martin Odegaard, and Declan Rice. Declan Rice is in the list, and you remember there were some fans who were saying that Declan Rice football had regressed coming to the Arsenal. Debatable, but to be in this list then means that his football improved, his stats improved. This is despite playing almost in the number 8 role, not in the traditional number 6 role. So even those fans who are criticizing Declan Rice, you have to know that Declan Rice is at the Arsenal is playing in a position that he's not been really familiar with, but he has accepted that position at least for the time being, because the squad has to accommodate Thomas Partey, and Arsenal was short in that position. I mean the number 8 after Granit Xhaka went to Bayer Leverkusen, and the new guy Kai Havertz couldn't really fit that position. The striking had a problem, so Kai is brought to the striking, leaving number 8 for Declan Rice, and so Thomas Partey retains the number 6 role. So to play in an unfamiliar position for a whole and entire season and still be nominated for the Ballon d'Or is an achievement for Declan Rice. Bukayo Saka had a tremendous season, not and so is William Saliba. Saliba as a defender, for defenders to make it to this list is always interesting. Saliba, despite his young and inexperienced age, he just started representing French national team, making uh, uh, into the first team for the Euros this season. So Saliba has achieved a lot, I would say. So Cole Palmer is in the list for Chelsea. Cole Palmer, he came from Manchester City, and he had a great impact at Chelsea. You know, last season's Chelsea was struggling, but there was this bright, shining star who kept them alive and breathing. So this was Cole Palmer. So Cole Palmer is in the list. The young Englishman. Emiliano Martinez is in the list. So Emiliano Martinez comes with a resume of having led Argentina, having been part of Argentina, the Celestes Copa America winning team. He was the goalkeeper, I think so, in the best in the tournament. So, and then also he was part, I think I would say he led Aston Villa to qualify for the Champions League. The good run steered by Unai Emery relied on experience and talent from players like Emiliano Martinez. So he is deservingly so by merit on this list. It's not the goalkeeper I like because of his theatrics, but he is by merit on this list. So when we go back to the main list, so we kind of let's analyze them, or maybe talk about their resume, what brings them, what makes them contenders for this edition of the Ballon d'Or. So Bellingham had a good run with the Three Lions, I think making it to the semis of the Euros, I think so. And then apart from that, he had a tremendous first impact season at Real Madrid. They won the Champions League, so he's coming with Champions League in his belt, and then he's coming also with La Liga in his belt. So he's coming with his so many belts. So another notable name here, probably a likeliest contender, is Vinicius Junior, but the Brazilian, who is coming with the Champions League on his belt. Another maybe something to look at is also the La Liga title. So if you ask me, the Ballon d'Or will be between two top players, which I will mention. So we have Kylian Mbappe. He just moved to Real Madrid, and he had an impactful last season. France didn't make it didn't win the Euros, so that is denting to his hopes and resume. So I think if Kylian Mbappe is to challenge for the Ballon d'Or, then it's got to be, he has to make an impact this season, and probably wait for the next Ballon d'Or, because this one is beyond him. Phil Foden, Manchester City won the league ahead of Arsenal. He had a nice season as well, but it's not enough. Tony Cruz, another German on the list, would rely on majorly will rely on the Champions League and the La Liga. Germany didn't have a successful Euro despite hosting it. They were knocked out by Spain, so that is denting to his chances. Braut Erling Haaland had a good season, an individual also great season with Manchester City, so he will rely on Manchester City and his individual stats. Bukayo Saka, William Saliba, really Arsenal missing the league really puts them at a disadvantage because despite all individual stats, the tournaments and cups and trophies normally matter in Ballon d'Or. So uh, let's look at there is a chart, some charts that I found out that profiles these players based on their values, their market values. The Ballon d'Or list of male nominees based on their transfer market value. So the highest ranked nominee here is Jude Bellingham at 21 years old, is ranked at 180 million euros. He's followed by a 24-year-old Braut Haaland, also at 180 million euros. So they are sharing their time alongside Vinicius, who's 24, 180 million euros, Kylian Mbappe, 25, 180 million euros. And then number 5, we have Phil Foden at 150 million euros. Bukayo Saka, 22 years old, at 144 and 40 million euros. Florian Wirtz, 21, 130 million euros. The most expensive German player now by transfer market value. And then we have Rodri, 28, like one of the senior most oldest players in this list. Rodri at 28, 130 million euros. He comes at number 8. Lamine Yamal at 17, imagine a 17-year-old ranked for the Ballon d'Or, and he's 120 million euros at 17. He shares the same market value with 25-year-old Declan Rice for the Arsenal. And then we have Valverde at 26, 120 million euros. Martin Odegaard valued at 110 euros. Lautaro Martinez, 27, valued at 110 million euros. Harry Kane, most likely the oldest player in the list, 100 million euros. Cole Palmer, 22, at 80 million. William Saliba, 23, at 80 million. Arsenal better increase the market value of this guy because this could be his last season with the Arsenal. I just think so, because Real Madrid will come and no one says no to Perez, yeah. No one says no to Perez. He will come with the money, and when he comes and finds that Saliba's market value is 20 million, then that will be like a one-time buy. Ruben Dias, 27 of age, 80 million euros. We have Nico Williams, 70 million euros, 22 years old. Another player who just committed his stay at Athletic Bilbao, so his market value is 70 million, as this is according to the stats I'm reading. So we have Dani Olmo at 60 million euros, Vitinha at 55 million euros, and then we have Grimaldo at 45 million euros, Hakan Chanelelu at 45 million euros. He's 30 years old. Ademola Lookman, 26, 40 million. Dovbyk, the Ukrainian, at 35 million euros. Emiliano Martinez, 28 million euros. Rudiger, 25 million euros. Xhaka, 20 million euros. Cavaral 12 million euros, and lastly the oldest player in the list, Matt Hummels, 5 million euros. And then we have Tony Cruz, 34. Is not valued because Tony Cruz retired this year from professional and international football. So that's the stats that you need to know. Or maybe an overview, not really a deep stat, but an overview of the 24-man nominee list for the Ballon d'Or this season. And here is finally my prediction on who is going to win the Ballon d'Or. So the Ballon d'Or, you've heard it here, you're hearing it here for the first time, will be won by Vinicius Jr., and he will be trailed closely by Jude Bellingham. Braut, Erling Haaland, or Kylian Mbappe would come third or in fourth position. Martin Odegaard for Arsenal or Bukayo Saka, one of these players will be in the top 10 list. So watch out for the top 10 list. Kylian Mbappe will be in the top 10 list as well. Rodri will be on the top 10 list as well. Lamine Yamal could be number 10. So the Ballon d'Or 2024, I think, will be carried by a Brazilian. Will be the first time in so many years that we have a Brazilian. The last Brazilian to carry the Ballon d'Or, I think, was Kaká. Before him was Ronaldinho, and before that there was the real Ronaldo de Assis. Ronaldo Luis Nazario de Lima, the guy, the best striker the world has ever seen. And then there was also Rivaldo winning the Ballon d'Or. So we are going to have a Brazilian lifting Ballon d'Or. If it's not him, then it's Jude Bellingham, but I am so confident that he will. So let me know what you think. Who is gonna win the Ballon d'Or? Probably your top 3 list. Yeah, have a nice day. I would love to hear your comments too.